Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 230. Subscribe to our mailing list to receive weekly updates and exclusive content delivered right to your inbox. Go to drfrancesrichards.com. That's drfrancesrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. That's drfrancesrichards.com, drfrancesrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. We promise we won't spam you or sell your information. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. She set out to empower the Black community through economics and ownership. She is at the forefront of the hashtag Buy Black movement, founder and CEO of Official Black Wall Street, the largest app and digital platform helping consumers find, review, and support Black-owned businesses. Welcome, Mandy Bowman.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I've given our audience a bio. It is very brief. Why don't you fill in the gaps? Share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business.
Absolutely. So I am the founder and CEO of a startup called Official Black Wall Street. We are the largest app and digital platform connecting consumers to Black-owned businesses while also helping Black entrepreneurs find different resources and opportunities for growth. So I started Official Black Wall Street, just a quick spiel since I know we'll go into this, but I started Official Black Wall Street just as a spreadsheet, as a resource for myself to find Black-owned businesses in my neighborhood. And since then it has grown so much. So I'm super excited for all that we're going to do in 2021 and beyond.
Speaking of 2021 and beyond, what is on your radar for that?
Oh, so much. So this year, we're actually working on relaunching the website and the app. And so we'll have a new app and website this month. It'll be, have a much better experience. We'll have more Black-owned businesses listed. We currently have a little bit over 5,000. With this new launch, we'll have 6,000. We also have a lot of really amazing partnerships. We just secured one the end of last year. We actually haven't even announced this outside of our membership. But we just secured a partnership last year with a global law firm, BakerBots, to provide all of the entrepreneurs on our platform with free legal services over the next 3 years. So, we're a lot more than a directory. We're really trying our hardest to support Black entrepreneurs and bring them as many resources, help them lower their business expenses and as many things as we can do to make sure that they continue thriving even through a pandemic.
Speaking of a pandemic, when we speak of Black entrepreneurs and Black businesses, you know that is the pulse of my heartbeat also. So we are kindred spirits from that. You hear the saying that when it's a pandemic for many, it's a tsunami for Black entrepreneurs. Talk about what your platform is doing to pretty much eliminate that statement or to elevate Black entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so that's been our biggest task for 2020. We know that Black entrepreneurs have faced all of these challenges way before the pandemic started, and the pandemic has only worsened those things. In 2020, we did so much just to try and help Black entrepreneurs through this. We started a series of workshops where we have other entrepreneurs who are successful in their own niche come on and give us information or give other Black entrepreneurs different information and tips that they can use to continue moving through this time, from customer service to increasing sales. We also launched a grant for Black business owners last year, and we gave away $30,000 to business owners or deserving Black business owners. Even then, with our platform, it's a daily job of just supporting Black-owned businesses, pushing the message, and also getting people to support as much as possible. So even with our app, You can go on there and you can find Black-owned businesses across all different categories, everything from restaurants to pharmacies, e-commerce boutiques. You can leave reviews. It'll alert you whenever you're near a physical business. And, we have a lot more really exciting features coming up just to make it as easy as possible and to incentivize people to buy Black, because it should be a lifestyle change and not something that we're doing in response to a pandemic or in response to, civil unrest. So we're definitely doing as much as we can to, one, highlight the businesses on our platform. So anyone that joins, we have a lot of, articles that we do geared towards Black entrepreneurs to help them gain different skills and different resources. But outside of that, we also do a lot of really popular listicles of different Black-owned businesses. And so our members are always included in that. Yeah, we really do a lot to make sure that we can support our members as much as possible.
Tell us what you're most grateful for right now in your life, Mandy.
Oh, that's such an awesome question. I think that there are so many things. There are so many things that I'm grateful for right now. The first thing that always comes to mind is my family. Even through a pandemic, my family has been safe and they've been healthy. And, we've managed to, although the pandemic is still going, I'm just grateful to have my family and my friends here and healthy and safe. I think last year has helped me appreciate, time that I have with my family and friends, even if it's just a phone call. So I would say I'm definitely appreciative or grateful for that first.
Speaking of family, talk to someone in your lineage that has inspired you the most. And I want you to give them a brief monologue about your appreciation to them. And what would you say?
If I had to talk to someone who inspires me and my family, it would be my Aunt Kathy. She is the epitome of a go-getting woman. And I think she's one of the first examples I personally have been able to see of a woman who is able to do it all. I remember growing up and always hearing, you have to choose one or the other. You can have a family or you can have the business life. And she is such a badass. And I'm sorry I put it that way, but I'm sorry, it's supposed to be a monologue. Aunt Kathy, you are such a powerhouse of a woman. I've always been so inspired by you and so inspired by your drive to continue pushing forward and not just settling for good, but driving for greatness. And always prioritizing her family as well. And that's always been such an inspiration for me, because I also believe that I can have it all. I remember growing up and hearing, women talk about, like I said before, you have to choose one or the other. You really opened me up to this world of, no, I can have everything. I can have wealth. I can have my family. I can be successful in business. And so I'm super appreciative of just your example and you being here and being an example to me.
Mandy, talk about that aha moment and share the story when you knew the official Black Wall Street was going to be successful.
Aha moment. I would say it was right before I launched a Kickstarter to raise money for an app. This was in 2016, and I was super nervous about this because, one, it was just me doing this. I was working full time. At this point in time, I was working full time at Essence Magazine and also working full time as the founder of Official Black Wall Street after hours. And what I didn't realize was that fundraising and running a Kickstarter, any crowdfunding campaign is also a full-time job. So it felt like I was doing three at the same time. And that was one of the most draining periods of my life where I was just so tired and very, very, very stressed. But I think the aha moment I had was when I finally gained the courage to launch it. And we were able to raise the funds that we needed and complete the crowdfunding campaign. And that was the biggest aha moment for me. There were 595, I'll never forget the number, 595 backers who donated their money towards the official Black Wall Street app. And I remember just being amazed that there are people I have never met in my life before who don't know me from a hole in the wall, who would give their money to me to help me bring about this vision, or who believed in me or believed in this vision and what I wanted to create. So that was the biggest aha moment.
There are so many businesses and brands that are dominating. Talk about a brand or business that's dominating that you admire and why.
Oh, there's so many. I'm going to say Culture Con. I believe that their official name is the Creative Collective, something to that effect, but owned by a woman named Imani Ellis, a Black woman, Black millennial. And I'm super inspired just by the way that they've been able to grow this platform and create a space for young Black creatives to come together and network and learn and create. They've done so many amazing events and so many really awesome conferences in New York and Atlanta. And it's been super awesome to see them grow, because I believe that, we also started around the same time. So that's definitely a business that also inspires me.
Talking about growing, and we're going to throw in the word pivot. During the pandemic, and we are still in the pandemic, how did you have to pivot, if at all?
We did. So 2020 was the year that we actually decided we were going to start doing more in-person events. We started or kicked off Black History Month with our first official in-person panel event and brunch, where we had a lot of amazing entrepreneurs come and talk about their experience with raising money and, actually having money to grow their business. And since that happened, we had to pivot. We had so many amazing plans and amazing events planned throughout the year, and even in different cities around the country. We had to pivot and move, figure out a way to move everything online. And also with that, figuring out how to still make it engaging. Along with that, when the pandemic started, I think a lot of us didn't know the weight of it at the very beginning. I think at some point in time, we realized that Black business owners were really taking a beating when it came to the pandemic. And so we had to shift and figure out what we can do to support these business owners, since that is our target audience and that is our membership. For 2020, it was literally a lot of spinning around. And with the civil unrest that happened as well, our platforms went viral. It felt like overnight we had hundreds of thousands of people on the website, on the app, sending us emails, sending us their support, sharing our pages. And at that point in time, it was about two people, myself and one other, maybe two and a half people, myself, my head of partnerships, and a part-time social media intern. And I believe at that point in time, I was working maybe 18-hour days, 7 days a week, just to keep up with the demand of everything happening. One of the ways that we had to pivot was really awesome, because this was one of the goals I had at the beginning of the year, but I expanded my team. We went from maybe 2 people to a solid 8. Outside of that, it was just a matter of figuring out talking to business owners on our platform and figuring out what kind of support they needed and figuring out how we could get it. And on top of that, also holding a lot of the corporations that posted statements saying that they stood with the Black community, holding them accountable and making sure that, that they were actually doing so in front of the scenes and behind the scenes. So 2020 there were so many moments where we had to pivot, one, due to the pandemic, and two, due to the civil unrest and the massive amount of traffic that we received during that time.
What can we do right now to support official Black Wall Street?
Oh, you can download the app. The app is available on Apple and Android devices. If you know a business owner that it is not listed, definitely send it to them. And even if it's not on our platform, my biggest goal, no matter what, is for people to buy Black and support Black-owned businesses. So even if you don't do it on our platform, if you are buying Black, if you're supporting a local Black-owned business, and you are supporting official Black Wall Street in our mission. But I would definitely say sharing the different businesses on our platform, definitely following us on social media, downloading the app, and using the app, of course, and finding different Black businesses that you can support from there.
I'm sure you have many. Is there a story that stands out when you talk about Buy Black that you want to share that has just really have taken off or has been super successful, or attribute anything to your platform?
I would say that a story that inspired me the most when it comes to my platform, which I named after it, was the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I actually learned about Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, maybe around 8 years ago. But I was super inspired when I read about this neighborhood, and this neighborhood was completely self-sufficient. There were tons of Black entrepreneurs. And during this time, of course, we know that Jim Crow laws were at large. And so a lot of Black entrepreneurs and business owners had no choice but to start their own and to support their own. And it really gave birth to one of the most prosperous neighborhoods that we have seen in our history. And it really inspired me because this was during the time I have always been an aspiring entrepreneur, but just reading this story about this community that was, reading about the businesses there and the theater and the pharmacy that were all Black owned and these super successful Black entrepreneurs. I think during this time, I would always look up to Oprah and, the usual Black entrepreneurs that we go to. But it was so inspiring for me to read about this neighborhood where there were so many more people who looked like me and who were able to build this amazingly prosperous community. That has been one of my anchors with Official Black Wall Street, just being able to recreate that and go back to that time when we are super self-sufficient and where we have the mobility and the resources and the capital to build something of that nature.
Talk about your top two individuals that have influenced you and what lessons did they teach you?
I would say one would be my mentor. In my family, I was one of the first entrepreneurs. And so for me, one of the biggest challenges has been finding a mentor in this space who could help. Even though I went to school for entrepreneurship, there are so many things that you don't learn until you're actually on the ground and doing it. One of the biggest blessings was having this mentor, one of my friends' dads, who was a serial entrepreneur, and just being able to learn different things from him. And I think one of the biggest things that I've learned just watching him and leading by example is the importance of community and collaboration, not just doing things in silos, but reaching out to other people, reaching out to other Black entrepreneurs around me to in hopes that we can all level up together and, seeing what synergy that there is so that, there are so many other businesses that have the same mission as Official Black Wall Street. So I think that was one of the biggest lessons that I had learned from him. Outside of that, I'm going to say my mom. My mom is not a business owner. She's not an entrepreneur. But I think one of the things that has helped me personally as an entrepreneur is just my ability to be empathetic to other people. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons why I started Official Black Wall Street. It was just to help someone in my community. And that was the biggest lesson that I've learned from my mom, because she's such a selfless person, always wants the best for those around them.
Mandy, you talked about in the interview that when you were launching Official Black Wall Street, that you were working for Essence. Are you still currently working for Essence or working a job in tandem with the launch of your business?
No. So I actually became a full-time entrepreneur in May of 2017. So I've been working for Essence for almost a year at that point in time and decided to finally make the leap into full-time entrepreneurship then.
Talk about that moment and how was it turning off the lights?
Oh, it was so nerve-wracking. I remember I had been toying with the idea of being a full-time entrepreneur literally for months at that point in time. And I had gone back and forth so many times with, maybe I should, continue doing this for a few more years, or, actually I'm not getting as much done. It was just a mental battle for so long, but it felt freeing. One of the things that really pushed me during this time was time. Essence was a full-time position and it required a lot of my time even after hours. And so there were so many things with Official Black Wall Street that just were not getting done. At that point in time, I didn't have the funds to hire more people. I think at some point in time, I had to sit down with myself and say, okay, if you continue on this track, you might not have official Black Wall Street or a business to work on because your, emails are going unanswered for, longer than they should. And so for me, I finally had that sit down talk, and it was like, okay, I'm going to actually make the leap. After I had that conversation with my director at that point in time, it felt like a weight had lifted off of my shoulders. There was still so much uncertainty that was scary, but for me, I knew that I had to take a risk. And at that point in time, it was like, this is now or never. So either you do this now or you let go of, this thing that you're so passionate about and that you've been working towards for all of these years. When I finally put it to myself in that way, it was a lot easier to flip the switch.
And we are so glad that you did.
Oh, thank you so much.
Advice you wish you had followed?
Oh my goodness, so many things. I wish I knew to be more kind to myself during this journey. I wish I knew that, and I'll tie all of this into advice. I also wish that I knew that being an entrepreneur, it takes time. I remember when I first started the idea for Official Black Wall Street and got the idea that, oh wait, this could be a business. I filled out a few spreadsheets and was like, okay, I'll definitely make a few million in a couple of months. And so I wish I knew that, although that does happen, it does take time even to get out of the red as an entrepreneur. I would say all in all, my advice to any entrepreneurs is to be kind to yourself. I've realized that there are so many mistakes that I had made earlier on, but all of those mistakes made for a better company now. Just being able to learn from those mistakes as quickly as possible and pivot. I think that has been the biggest benefit. So I would say, one, be kind to yourself. You're not going to know everything right off the bat. You are absolutely going to make mistakes. And even when you make mistakes, that is a good thing, because at least now you know what does not work. So we've been able to do a lot of trial and error to know, okay, we know that this works really well for our audience. We know that this does not resonate because we've tried it. We can look at other similar companies who are doing something, similar to what we did before, what we tried before, and just know like that is not going to work. They're going to run into some issues. So I would say definitely make mistakes and make them quickly and clean them up quickly as well. And it will take some time before you get into the right groove of things. I speak to business owners all the time who are like, oh, I just launched something, last week and it's not picking up yet. And I'm like, it's only been a week. Give yourself some time. You have to learn your audience. You have to learn your product and all of that stuff. It doesn't happen overnight. It literally does happen with time and with trial and error.
Speaking of being kind to Mandy, talk about self-care and what does that look like to you?
Oh, self-care has been my biggest topic of discussion last year, or in 2020. I would say that 2020 was the first year that I actually prioritized self-care. And that was a result of just the pandemic and all of the work that I had to do. When we basically went viral over the summer, I just found myself being so stressed. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't become an entrepreneur to be overworked and to be stressed. I did it for the flexibility to build a legacy and so many other things. And so for me, I have things that I do each week that, fall into that self-care category, even each day. First thing in the morning, I always meditate and pray. That always helps put me in the right mindset. I go for walks every single day as well, as long as the weather permits. It always makes me feel so grounded just to be outside and to breathe in some fresh air. And then also just prioritizing the things that I consume, not just things that I'm eating, but the things that I'm feeding my mind, the things that I watch on TV. I feel like I did a lot last year when it came to making sure that my mind was in a sound place and that I wasn't feeding myself things that would add to any stress that I was, already experiencing. So I think for me, it has been learning how to balance those things and finding something each day that just brings me joy, even if it's just going for a walk.
Speaking of legacy, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone who just wanted to help. I want Official Black Wall Street to be remembered as a household name and a business that was really for the people and that that actually had an impact on our community and helped us move forward, especially when it comes to economics and financially. I just want to be known as or remembered as someone who helps.
What is something that we don't know about Black entrepreneurs that we should know?
I think a lot of it has to do with the different challenges that Black business owners face. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir with you and a lot of our listeners, but one thing that I like to reiterate is that the challenges that Black entrepreneurs are experiencing now, they're not new challenges. The pandemic, unfortunately, has only worsened the challenges that Black business owners have already been facing for years and years on end. I went to Babson College for undergrad where I studied entrepreneurship. And they actually just collaborated with Goldman to analyze the different challenges that Black entrepreneurs are facing around the country. And a lot of the stats were some of them were things that we had known before, but a lot of them were extremely eye-opening. For example, we know that banks shut us out of loans at a higher rate than equally qualified entrepreneurs. The rejection rate for Black business owners, a study found, was 27%, 3 times higher than equally qualified white business owners. Even when it comes to funding, 71% of Black business owners who have a household income of $75,000 or below are denied funding, whereas 65% of white entrepreneurs in that same category receive funding. So the numbers are the statistics when it comes to the different challenges that Black business owners face. It's just super eye-opening, and it definitely drives home the fact that we need to do what we can to even out the playing field and to make sure that Black business owners have the same chances of not just starting a business, but also growing a business and making sure that it's successful and that it can actually sustain their lives and that they can actually hire more people from our community. So I would also recommend checking out the study just so that we are all aware of the different challenges that this group faces, not just with the pandemic, but on a day-to-day level.
Mandy, what is the best way for someone to check out the study?
So you can actually go to, there's actually a link for it, but the study came out October 13th of 2020. So if you go to goldmansachs.com/citizenship/10,000 small businesses, you'll be able to find it there. Or you can also just Google Goldman Sachs Babson Black entrepreneurship, and you should be able to see a wealth of stats and different infographics about the different challenges that Black entrepreneurs face.
Thank you. And we will include that in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you.
The word is listening. What is your generation saying? What is that resounding sound and message that they're telling us?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think that my generation is very passionate about change and, passionate about seeing things change, not only on a community level, but even on a personal and familial level. There are so many people. I'm so proud, especially in my generation. There are so many people I know who are, doing a lot of inner work to, break different generational curses and going to therapy and speaking out about different issues and making sure that the world is aware of those things and that they don't forget it. You will always find us at the forefront of a protest or just letting our voice be heard in some way, shape, or form. I think the message that my generation is spreading is that we will be heard.
Speaking of change, what problem exists in the world today, Mandy, that you would like to solve?
I would like to help solve the issue that I've noticed a lot of Black entrepreneurs face, or at least the wealth gap when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur. I recently had a conversation with a venture capital firm, and it was very interesting, talking to them about some of the issues that Black entrepreneurs face, especially when it comes to the wealth gap. There are so many stories of entrepreneurs of white entrepreneurs or otherwise who are able to, start their business with a 6-figure business loan from their parents. And my parents couldn't give me a 5-figure business loan because we are not at at that same place when it comes to wealth, when it comes to generational wealth. So one of the issues I want to fix is being able to give our entrepreneurs that same head start that a lot of white entrepreneurs are able to get from their family and friends. Even in that conversation with that VC firm, it was very interesting because I was, basically asking, okay, well, you're starting out as an entrepreneur. Where do you get your first investment from? And he was like, oh, well, you get it from family and friends. Can maybe raise six figures from family and friends. And it was like, okay, well, what if you don't, what if you don't have access to family and friends who can raise that kind of money? And it was just crickets. So I definitely want to help in that sense and help give entrepreneurs the head start that we also deserve.
What is the best decision you made as a leader?
Honestly, I think it was just a mindset shift. I'd say that before I wasn't the most positive person. Something could go wrong and it would completely, derail my entire day. I think that one thing that has really helped me on my entrepreneurial journey was just learning to be a more positive person and learning to look at the world from a glass half full standpoint. And that has helped me so much as a leader because, as an entrepreneur, things are not going to go right all the time at all. And it definitely helps to have that kind of mindset where, one, this is only temporary. Two, being frustrated or it's not going to help change the situation. So it's definitely helped me lead my team a lot better as well. And being able to just be grounded during those times when things are not going as planned.
What do you need right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
I think that two things. One thing that we are currently working on doing, one thing that we're working on doing now is raising more capital and more funds to have a full-time team. So currently I'm the only full-time person. The rest of my team is part-time. So I would just say the support that we received even, over the past couple of years have been just so helpful in the growth of Official Black Wall Street. And I think the next step is for us to grow even further and do many of the things that, we've been so excited to introduce to our audience is to just have more people on board. Also, collaborations are really helpful. But yeah, I would definitely say I feel like no matter what entrepreneur you speak to, if you ask them what they need, they're going to say some money would be nice. So yeah, definitely those two things, just having the extra hands on deck and the funds for them.
What are you reading right now and why?
Oh, the book that I'm currently reading is called Profit First. And it was a book that was suggested to me by so many other Black entrepreneurs. And I believe that I just started reading it, but it's super helpful when it comes to figuring out how to run your business and do so in a way that you're actually making a profit and that you're paying yourself because you are the most important person in your company if you are the founder and the CEO.
Who's the author?
It's Mike Holloway.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
Mandy, if someone spent a day with you, what would they learn about you that they don't know?
They would learn that I am, at least when it comes to my day to day, I've learned to more so be a go with the flow person. It is 12 o'clock and I feel like I really want to go for a walk, and I'll go for a walk. If I feel like I need a break throughout the day or inspiration isn't coming to me, then I will absolutely take a break or put things down and come back to it another time. They'd also know that this is super random, but I absolutely love astronomy and cosmology and anything about the planets and the stars. So just about every night, I'm watching short form documentaries about planets and stars and cosmology. So I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things. And I like to think that I'm a pretty positive person when it comes to what life throws at me and being able to find the bright side of things.
What is something you dream about often that you have not done that you would like to do?
Oh, I would absolutely love to start my own real estate portfolio. So my goal was to go back to grad school at some point once I have things down pat with Official Black Wall Street and learn more about being a real estate developer. I've always wanted to own different properties, not just around the country, but my mom's side of the family is from St. Vincent. And so I always had dreams of not just owning property, commercial and residential, but also maybe even having my own chain of boutique hotels around the Caribbean. So yeah, that's one of the things that's still on my list.
Talk about your most memorable moment in life or business.
So the first thing that came to mind was, wow, there's so many. I'll go with the first thing that popped into my head. It was in March, I believe March of 2017, but during this time, I had been asked to give a TEDx talk on Black ownership and the power of the Black dollar. And this was such an awesome and nerve-wracking moment because it was the very first time that I had ever spoken in front of any crowd for any reason. And it was to give a TEDx talk of all things. But I feel like that was a moment that even throughout that time, dealing with imposter syndrome and things of that nature, that was the one time where I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing and growing in the way that I was supposed to, and that God was leading me to something so much greater than I even dreamed up for myself. Just the fact that someone saw me and thought that I was qualified to give a TEDx talk, and especially on this topic, and to do it at the first TEDx event that was held at an HBCU. Even now, there are people, I'll have a meeting with someone, they're like, oh, I watched your TED talk, it was so awesome. And I'm like, that is great to know because I was terrified. And most times they can't even tell. So for me, that was just an awesome moment, especially getting feedback from other people where it was like, oh, you look like a natural up there. Have you done this before? And so for me, it was just confirmation that I was on the right track.
Mandy, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Actually, I would ask myself, what is your most favorite part of, what you're doing, what I'm doing with Official Black Wall Street? And to answer that question, I would just say, just being a vessel for my community has been so amazing. Running into Black entrepreneurs who have been a part of our platform since we first began, and talking to them about their business and their growth since being on the platform, and how Official Black Wall Street, I'm tearing up now, how Official Black Wall Street has helped them in whatever way. It makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. I feel like I'm rambling now because I'm not even getting my words out correctly, but that is the most amazing part of what I do. Being able to connect with other people who look like me, who are, also business owners, and knowing that what I created has helped them in some way, shape, or form. That is the best part.
Mandy, thank you so much. I can hear your passion, your emotion, your authenticity, and I just want to applaud you for the work that you're doing and just commend you and say that I am so proud of you and keep it going.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Dr. Richards.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
I think so.
And if there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Your first job?
My first job was at Atlantic Records. I was a digital marketing assistant coordinator.
You relax doing what?
I relax watching the sunset and going for walks.
The last movie you saw?
The last movie I saw was Ma Rainey's on Netflix.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
My favorite singer is Lauryn Hill and Music Soul Child.
Your favorite color?
Lavender and baby blue.
Your favorite dance song?
Currently, Toast by Coffee.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
French toast.
Work out or hit the couch?
Work out.
And your favorite month?
I was going to be biased and say January because that's when my birthday is, but my favorite month is actually May.
Happy birthday month.
Thank you so much.
Mandy Bowman, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience the best way that they can connect with you and do business with you? Feel free to give all your social media handles.
Absolutely. You can connect with me or connect with Official Black Wall Street by following us. We are Official Black Wall Street on Instagram, OBWS app on Twitter, and Official Black Wall Street everywhere else. You can also connect with me. I'm just Mandy X Bowman across all social media platforms. You can definitely feel free to download our app on Android and Apple devices. And if you would like to connect with me, you can contact me at just mandy@officialblackwallstreet.com.
Thank you, Mandy. That's a wrap.
All right, thank you so much.
Our guests have sent us so much swag, books, and giveaways this year. I can't wait to announce our monthly winner. So if you want exclusive content delivered right to your inbox and to enter into our monthly drawing, go to drfrancisrichards.com and subscribe to our mailing list. That's drfrancisrichards.com. drfrancisrichards.com. That's drfrancisrichards.com and subscribe to our mailing list. We promise we will not spam you or sell your information.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.